This video covers displacement. Displacement is the distance an object travels in a particular direction. More specifically, it's the difference between the final and initial positions. Displacement is measured in meters, and the equation is delta x equals x final minus x initial. This first part that looks like a triangle is called delta. It means change in. Change in x represents displacement. The x final is the final position, and the x initial is the initial position. So, to figure out the displacement, you subtract the initial position from the final position. One thing to remember is that displacement is a vector, which means direction matters. Displacement versus distance traveled. Distance is how far an object goes, where change in x is the difference between the final and initial positions. Let's do an example to look at the difference more closely. If a person walks from 0 meters to a door 5 meters away and back, what is their distance traveled and their displacement? The distance traveled would be 10 because it's 5 meters there and 5 meters back. For displacement, their displacement would be 0 because they start at 0 and end at 0, and 0 minus 0 would be 0. So their displacement is 0 meters. Let's try another example. If a person starts at the point 1 meter, travels 6 meters, and goes back to 3 meters, what is her displacement? Here is our timeline. So if we use the equation, the person's final position is 3, and their initial position is 1. The middle position of 6 doesn't matter for the equation. So we do 3 minus 1 and find the displacement to be 2 meters. 2D displacement. To do problems like these, you need to break down the displacement into the x and y components. Let's do an example of 2D displacement. Draw it out on a coordinate plane. Use the equation for the x values. We see that 3 minus negative 2 is 5 meters. This means it traveled 5 meters in the positive direction. For the y components, we find that it traveled 2 meters in the negative direction and has a displacement of negative 2 meters. Now try one on your own. A person travels from 2 meters to 10 meters to 3 meters to 8 meters to 6 meters and back to 1 meter. What is their displacement? If you did it correctly, your answer should be negative 1 meter.